Hi everyone, it's Debbie from cariadcards.co, and today I'm going to show you how to make this tiny weeny adorable little box that holds one single Ferrero Rocher. Imagine that on a dinner table where you want to put one as a little gift for each person. So absolutely tiny. Right, I'm going to start off with some Whisper White card. Don't worry about measurements and scoring, I'll put everything onto my blog. This one has been cut to 7 3/4 inches by 2 1/4 inches, and this one has been cut to 4 1/2 inches by 1 1/2 inches. So I'm going to start off by heat embossing this to get this gorgeous shiny gold effect. Hopefully you can pick that up. I'm filming this at night, that might be a little bit better, so it may not show up as well as I'd like. So first of all, just use your embossing buddy just to clean that up, make sure you haven't got any greasy finger marks. Using the Hopeful Thoughts set, and I'm actually using this one, I'm not using the bottom portion but the leaves. The reason being, it's so tiny that you want a very small pattern on here, otherwise you're not going to see much of it if you use anything too large. So I've mounted that onto my acrylic block. I'm going to use Versamark ink. If you're not used to heat embossing, then you need a specialist pad, not just your standard ink pad, because you need something to let the embossing powder stick to. So I'm just going to ink this and stamp it at random around and keep doing this. I'm trying not to get the main branch too much onto my card. It's the leaves that I really want. Now we are going to be cutting off various bits of this, but just makes it easy to do the whole thing in one go, and I'm trying to get different angles if possible, just so that it doesn't look too uniform. So I think that's almost done. Yep, brilliant. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is put on my gold embossing powder, Stampin' Up. This is lovely. Many metallic embossing powders, the golds and silvers and other brands, can end up looking a bit cloggy and you don't get a really shiny, smooth effect, whereas with the Stampin' Up one you do. It's the best one that I have used, absolutely, without doubt. Now just sprinkle this all over. I may have, well, I know I'll have to do this a couple of times because I've got the 2 pieces of card and I've used an awful lot of this powder already. Oh no. Oh dear, I think I overshot the stamp there. It doesn't matter too much because it's such a tiny box. You don't see much of each face at any time. Yeah, that was very careless of me, wasn't it? Never mind. It's not the worst blooper I've made on video by far. I've done a lot worse than that. And just this second piece. There. It's such a pretty stamp. And I'll put that back in the pot because I don't want to end up with gold embossing powder everywhere. If you've ever tried it, it's not a good look. Okay, got my heat tool, so you're not going to be able to hear me for a minute. And this one. Excuse my double stamping, that really was careless of me. Right, It didn't seem much point chattering away then. I wasn't sure how much you'd actually hear. Now we're going to be working on this larger piece. You need your simply scored board, and there is quite a lot of scoring to do on this, but don't worry, I will put all of the measurements onto my blog. So first of all, I'm going to score down this long edge. So I'm going to put the short side up against the top, use my stylus, I hope you can see that, and I'm going to score at 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to score at 1 7/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to, so 3/8 of an inch, 1 7/8. I will put that on my blog. Turn my card around, so I've got the long edge against there. I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch, 1 5/8, 3 1/8, 4 5/5, 6 1/8, and 7. Okay, I've finished my board for now. Actually, no, I think I'll just do my scoring on this one as well, so it's all done out the way, and then I can put my board away. So this is the smaller piece that we did. Put that long ways up, and we're going to score, if you can see hopefully, at 1 1/2 and 3. Okay, that's my scoring done now. Scoreboard away. Now we've got, if you can see there, pretty little top edge. For that I've used the scalloped tag topper punch. So first thing I'm going to do is just turn these sides over. Along the long edge you've got a score line on both sides. I'm going to work on those first. The only trouble embossing first is you get gold on your bone folder. I'll have to go scrubbing that later, see if I can get it off. Hopefully I can. So I've just turned those edges in. The reason being that I want to use my punch on this edge and this edge, and I don't want to necessarily punch through there. So push that in, try and get it as central as possible, and make sure you push it. It might feel like it's in, but keep pushing until it won't go any further back. And then punch. And do the same the other end. Push it and then keep pushing, because often, especially when you've folded it over and got a double thickness of card, it can feel like it's at the end, so just double check. Okay, now I've got quite a bit of folding to do. I'm just trying to, that you can see it better on that side, I think. These two this very first score line at the end, I'm going to fold that the opposite way to the rest of the fold. So I'm going to fold that way towards the stamped. I will use my bone folder after. So fold that way, and then all the others go the standard way, the way you would expect. And you do want to use your bone folder if at all possible, just because you get a much sharper crease. Okay, now we've got a little bit of, oh, I better do this one as well. Stop talking, Debbie, and get on and do what you need to do. Got a bit of cutting to do here. Right, I'm not sure how well you can see this. Let's do it that end. So we've got our line going down there, and then we've got this fold here and that fold there. I want to cut there and straight down here. I don't want that section. Okay. I also don't want this middle section. So I've taken that section out. Not very well. Debbie, mind you, I'm going to take that out later. I'm wondering if you'll see it better this side. This middle section is going to come out. And you've guessed it, this end section here. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So we're just taking this section here, so that goes over the little part where you've used your punch and the first rectangle. We leave the next rectangle, we take out the central bit, just down there, and then at the very end here. Right, now you can leave it like that, or you can do what I'm going to do. It's called wedging, where you just literally take off these corners in a wedge. It means you've got a bit less bulk, and it just makes the box easier to put together, especially on such a diddy little box like this. You don't want too much bulk. So I'm just wedging those. And then that's the cutting done. Let's get all these bits out of the way. So that's what it should look like now. So you've got, that's the bottom, that's the sides, that's the top section. Okay, so I'm now going to glue this onto this, because that's one side of the box, that's the bottom of the box, and that's the other side. So for that, I'm just going to use a little bit of paper glue on here. I say a little bit, I always end up putting far too much on. And then make sure that all of your corners are lined up. So that should now be sat across the bottom. That should be easy to fold up. That should all be lined up. These are obviously going to stick inside there to form the sides of your box, and these are going to stick inside there. Now you really need a decent strong glue for this, so I would use something like Fast Fuse normally, or my paper glue. The problem is my paper glue does take sort of about a minute to make sure it dries, so I'm just going to use snail for now. This isn't strong enough to keep your box together permanently, especially when you're putting it over somewhere embossed like that. But for now, hopefully it will be okay. We will see in a moment. If not, I may have to go back to my trusty paper glue. So I've just glued the tabs. It just means it saves you having to sit and watch me hold things to dry. Isn't this such a cute little box? Ah, am I doing that? I always get this the wrong way around. And my last one. And if I can stick my fingers to something, I will. I'm hoping you can see that. It's always a bit of a worry when I pull something towards me so I can see what I'm doing, because it ends up off the camera then. Okay, so that's stuck together. Cute little box. One Ferrero Rocher. Oh, lovely. I'd love one of these on my dinner table. Now, push that together. You can see the reason now why we scored at the end and why we folded it the other way. It's so that when you push them together like that, they just sit nice and proud and straight. Now, all I'm going to do is take some ribbon, and I'm just going to put that through there. Just push it through, create a knot so it's nice and stable. Oh, now shall I be brave and have a go at tying a bow? Oh, I have such an issue with tying bows. Right. I could do with going on a bow tying course, I think. I do have bow envy. I watch other people do videos and I think, how do you make them so beautiful first time? Actually, that's not bad. Cut my ends and look at that. Isn't that so sweet? absolutely, I think it's gorgeous. I know I'm obviously a bit biased because I've made it, but wouldn't they look lovely? Oh, even little wedding favours, to be honest. Do them in wedding colours. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much for joining me. Goodbye from me, Debbie, at cariadcards.co.